ladies and gentlemen? I am getting this tight end defense video out to you as soon as I possibly can. I apologize for the delay. In it, I'm going to go over the top 15 options at tight end and at defense. I'm also going to cover some notable omissions to let you know why they did not make the cut. I'm going to try to get you all the updated news, knowledge, and information this Friday as well for my final start, sit, and updated tiers video, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. If you have any start or sit questions, especially as the week progresses, please drop those down below or reach out to me on Sleeper, whatever works best for you. If you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please consider liking and subscribing. Your support means everything to me and it helps me out so very much. With that done, let's get into Week 18's tight end rankings. Top spot for me in Week 18 is Mark Andrews at home against Pittsburgh. Continuing to dazzle, Andrews finished as the tight end 3 against the Rams, catching all 6 of his targets for 89 yards. In his last 4 games, he has compiled an incredible 35 receptions on 40 targets for 465 yards and 4 touchdowns, never once falling outside the top 3. I done told you he was going to help carry you to a championship, and he's not about to stop now. Moving on to 2, and traveling to Denver, it is Travis Kelce. His score saved owners days as his 25 yards didn't do much to move the needle, but it allowed him a top 4 finish on the week. He is as reliable as they come and could put an exclamation mark on another excellent season as the current league's tight end 2. The third player on my list is Rob Gronkowski at home against Carolina. As predicted, Brady went to his big man early and often, and Gronk responded, catching 7 of 10 balls for 115 yards en route to the tight end 2 finish. I expect more of the same in this one. Zach Ertz is at home against Seattle, and he's next at 4. Ertz has 33 targets in his last 3 games, all of them tight end 1 finishes. The Hawks allow the 8th most points per game to the position, so that volume will lead to another big day. It pays to be Kyler Murray's security blanket. George Kittle rounds out my top 5. He makes a road trip to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. With just 5 targets in his last 2 games combined, Kittle has gone cold at the wrong time for owners. We know his upside, but we do not know is how he meshes with this rookie quarterback just yet. I still like him this week, I just don't love him like I used to. Moving on to 6, it is Dalton Schultz on the road against Philadelphia. Make it 3 straight top 10 finishes for Schultz, who's seen 27 targets in that time, racking up 203 yards and 2 scores. He's only going to see more targets now that Michael Gallup is gone, and Philly allows over 17 points a game to the position, second most in the league. At home against Dallas, and in at 7, it is Dallas Goedert. It has been a solid 4-game stretch for Goedert, who has 3 finishes in the top 6 in that time. He racked up 66 yards the last time these 2 teams met up, and that was while Zach Ertz was still around. In at 8, it is Noah Fant against Kansas City at home. The long-lost upside for Fant finally appeared last week as Fant recorded his 2nd overall tight end 1 finish of the year with a 6 catch on 7 target, 92-yard game with a score against the Chargers. It'll need to be present again for the Broncos to be able to keep up with the Chiefs. Kyle Pitts is next up at 9. He's got a home matchup with the Saints. Pitts is currently the tight end 5 on the season, which is spectacular for a rookie at one of the toughest transition positions in the league. He's going to make it 5 straight tight end 1 finishes in the season finale despite this tough matchup. Dawson Knox is at home against the Jets, and he rounds out my top 10. The dreaded Goose reared his ugly head last week for Knox in an awesome matchup, but thankfully he gets another one here in the Jets, who allow over 15 points a game to tight ends. I think he capitalized on the chance for redemption. My 11th ranked player traveling to Miami is Hunter Henry, whose 19 targets in his last 3 is an encouraging sign after he was relegated to 3 or 4 a game almost the entire season. If you believe history repeats itself, he hasn't gone 3 straight without a score since week 3, and with back-to-back games without one here, he is due. The last tight end 1 for me in week 18 is Tyler Higbee at home against San Francisco. With 6 or more targets and at least 40 yards in each of the last 3 weeks, Higbee has stepped up late in the year for managers. The 49ers allow the 5th fewest points per game to the position, but his role in this high-powered offense is secure. I have Cole Kmet at number 13. He travels to Minnesota. Kmet's role in this offense has increased as the season has progressed, and he's averaging 7 targets a game in his last 6. Minnesota is a top 10 defense to the position, but part of the reason that I'm in on Justin Fields is this guy. He's got the talent to overcome the matchup. Up next, it is Tyler Conklin at 14 in that game against Chicago. The Bears allow 9 points per game to tight ends. That is 7th best in the league, but the volume with Adam Thielen gone has returned. He saw 9 targets last week, and Conklin was able to compile 47 yards and could once again be busy in Chicago. Pat Freiermuth is my 15th ranked player. He travels to Baltimore, and I am all about the pass catchers against the Ravens, and Freiermuth should be more dependable another week removed from the concussions that he suffered. Baltimore gives up the 4th most points of the position, and Freiermuth saw 6 targets last week. With ranked players over with, let's get into my notable omissions, and it starts with Darren Waller at home against the Chargers. I will believe it when I see it at this point for Waller, whose initial 2-week diagnosis has led him to missing the last 5 games. If he's back and he's active, and that is for real this time, of course you're playing him. Why, yes, I am an owner. Why do you ask? Gerald Everett goes on the road against Arizona, and the Cardinals allow under 8 points a game to the position that is 2nd best in the league, and I believe Russ focuses in on his wide receiver core partially because of it. His floor is decent, but it is not worth a play for me unless you are really desperate. The last tight end I'm looking to avoid in Week 18 is Mike Gesicki at home against New England. Gesicki hasn't gotten inside the top 15 in 3 straight weeks, and even more concerning is the matchup here with the Patriots, who allow under 7 points a game to opposing tight ends. I was already avoiding Dolphins this week like the plague, so this makes it an even easier call. With tight ends complete, let's hop into Week 18's defenses. My number 1 play of the week is the Bills defense against the Jets, and I believe Buffalo smashes the banged up New York team here, and I do not expect a repeat performance from the Jets, who almost stole one last week against Tampa Bay. Buffalo has 4 or more sacks in 2 out of their last 3. At 2, it is the New England Patriots defense traveling to Miami. The perfect get-right game last week sets up a strong finish for the Patriots, who need their defense to get back to that elite play that we saw in week 7 to 13. I think they take another step in that direction with a strong performance here. Tampa Bay's defense against Carolina at home is in at 3, and at 4, I have the Colts defense at home against Jacksonville. If you saw the Jags play last week at all, this is an easy call. The Colts defense is one of the best in the league, and they show why against the Jags. Rounding out my top 5, I have the Chiefs defense on the road against Denver, and in at 6, it is the Saints defense traveling to Atlanta. The Saints have top 2 finishes in 2 out of their last 3 games. In that span, they have registered 5 turnovers and 14 sacks. There will be plenty more where that came from against the Falcons. At 7, it's the football team traveling to New York to take on the Giants. And at 8, I have the Titans defense traveling to Houston. Tennessee was masterful on defense against Miami, giving up just 3 points while forcing a pair of turnovers and sacking Tua 4 times. They will smother Houston, lock up the 1 seed, and hope King Henry comes back after the first round bye. Moving on to 9, it is the Cowboys defense traveling to Philadelphia, and in my 10 spot is the Minnesota Vikings at home against Chicago. Last week for Minnesota needs to be thrown in the trash. They never had a chance, and the offense did their defense no favors either. They'll look much better against Chicago, force at least 1 turnover, and produce a solid day for managers. At 11, I have the Cardinals defense at home against Seattle, and in the 12 spot, it's the Steelers defense traveling to Baltimore. In 2 out of the last 3 weeks, Pittsburgh has put up a top 5 performance. It won't be that good here against the Ravens, but it'll be enough to warrant a decent start. They had 9 sacks last week against Cleveland. The Los Angeles Rams are in at 13, and at 14, I have the Eagles defense facing Dallas. It's anyone's guess which Dallas offense shows up from week to week, but the Eagles have put up back-to-back top 12 performances and can give Dak issues in the passing game. We know the ground game isn't what it used to be for Dallas, so Philly has a shot to hold up. The Green Bay Packers travel to Detroit, and they're my 15th ranked defense. And with those out of the way, let's get into my notable omissions. The Bengals are the first. They travel to Cleveland, and if Case Keenum starts, it's not a huge downgrade, but it might be enough for Cincy to ultimately slide into the back end of my rankings. After giving up 28 points in the first half to Kansas City, they held the Chiefs to a field goal in the final 2 frames. The Chargers defense traveling to Vegas is up next, and this one has shootout potential written all over it from 2 desperate teams, so I want no part of the defenses in this game, plain and simple. The last defense I'm looking to avoid is the New York Giants at home against the Washington football team. The Giants offense is so bad that it makes things really difficult for an above average defense squad in New York. When you can't move the ball or keep possession of it, things are bound to break down, and they have here for over a month. And that'll do it for me for tight ends and defenses in week 18. I really hope you guys enjoyed the content today. If you have any starter sit questions as the week goes on, drop them down below. I would love to be able to help you out. If you are new to the channel, if you haven't done it yet for whatever reason, please like and subscribe. Your support means everything to me, and it helps me out a ton. This is Relentless Press. I'm your host, Abraham Opatz, and we'll see you next time.